Have you ever felt like the world has just gone completely off the rails? Like things are so chaotic and broken that you wonder if it can even be fixed? Well, that's exactly the kind of world we're diving into today, a world from a very, very long time ago. Picture this: humanity had spread across the earth, growing in number, but something had gone terribly wrong. It was as if a shadow had fallen over people's hearts. The Bible tells us that the Lord saw how great the wickedness of the human race had become on the earth, and that every inclination of the thoughts of the human heart was only evil all the time. Imagine that. Not just some bad actions here and there, but a deep-seated corruption that tainted everything. The world was filled with violence and disregard for what was right. It wasn't the world God had intended. In fact, the scriptures say God regretted that he had made human beings on the earth, and his heart was deeply troubled. It was a time of immense sorrow, a divine heartbreak over a creation that had turned its back on its Creator. Faced with this pervasive brokenness, a difficult decision was made. A cleansing was necessary. God said, "I will wipe from the face of the earth the human race I have created, and with them the animals, the birds and the creatures that move along the ground, for I regret that I have made them." This sounds incredibly harsh. A total reset button for the planet. It was a judgment born of sorrow, a final consequence for a world that had spiraled into darkness. A great flood was coming, a deluge that would cover the entire earth and wash away the corruption. It was a terrifying prospect, the end of the world as everyone knew it. But even in this moment of immense judgment, there was a glimmer of hope, a single bright spot in a world of shadows. The Bible says, "But Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord." Who was this Noah? He was described as a righteous man, blameless among the people of his time, and he walked faithfully with God. Think about what that means. In a world where everyone else was doing wrong, where violence and selfishness were the norm, Noah chose a different path. He chose to listen to God, to live a life of integrity, and to maintain his relationship with his Creator. He stood out not because he was perfect, but because his heart was turned towards God in a world that had turned its back. So God came to Noah with a plan. Not a plan of destruction for him, but a plan of salvation. He told Noah about the coming flood and gave him a set of very specific, very unusual instructions. God said, "So make yourself an ark of cypress wood. Make rooms in it and coat it with pitch inside and out." This was no small boat. God gave him the exact dimensions: 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high. That's about 450 feet long, 75 feet wide, and 45 feet high. It was a massive 3-story vessel, built to withstand a global catastrophe. Can you imagine your neighbors seeing you build a giant ship in your backyard, far from any ocean? They must have thought he was crazy. But Noah listened, and the instructions didn't stop there. God told him to bring his entire family onto the ark, his wife, his 3 sons, and their wives. And then he was to bring animals, 2 of every kind of living creature, male and female, to keep them alive with him. Birds, livestock, and all the creatures that move along the ground. They would come to him to be kept alive. He also had to gather and store every kind of food that was to be eaten for his family and for all the animals. This was a monumental task, an incredible act of logistics, faith, and obedience. The world around him was descending into chaos, and here was Noah, sawing wood, gathering animals, and storing food, all based on a promise from God. The Bible simply states, Noah did everything just as God commanded him. He didn't argue, he didn't doubt, he just obeyed. This story of Noah isn't just about a great flood and a big boat. It's a powerful story about choices and consequences. It shows a world suffering the consequences of turning away from goodness. But more importantly, it shows that even when everything seems lost, even in the face of overwhelming judgment, there is always a path of rescue for those who choose to walk in faith and obedience. Noah's story is a testament to the idea that one person's faithfulness can make all the difference, becoming a beacon of hope in the darkest of times. It reminds us that God's heart is one of both justice and mercy, always making a way for salvation. Thanks for watching. If this story resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into these timeless narratives. See you next time